Scott Pilgrim.
I love this movie.
I think there are 3 different elements. Niko, do you know what they are?
I think I see it. Thanks to Raycon for sponsoring this video. Stick around to the end to see how you can get 15% off your very own set of earbuds.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of Visual Effects Artists React. Today, we've got some pretty sweet looking shots. We got some historical landmarks of visual effects we're gonna take a look at, and a couple goofs as well.
Slide on into your seat and watch the video. That's what Wren was gonna say. Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim has been so highly requested like forever.
I love this movie.
So people remember that there are effects in this movie, but that's because it's so like cartoony and comic style. For instance, this scene right here has a moment where he just like takes him and throws him across the parking lot and into like a castle.
Hey, I'm talking to you, Scott Pilgrim.
He's famous and he talked to me.
There's Captain America right there.
No, it's not Captain America. No, it's the Human Torch.
To quote a friend of mine, it's clobbering time.
He just throws him and he cheers. He just goes like, yeah.
Dude, look at that sick.
So that shot right there.
Very strange and cool.
I think there's a few things going on here. I think there are 3 different elements. Niko, do you know what they are?
Yeah, I would say you got a stuntman, a digital double, and then Michael Cera in the foreground, all being stitched together with the magic of computers.
Perfect. That was exactly what I was gonna say. There's obviously some sort of stunt guy like getting into position and then falling down through that thing. Let's see if we can see when it goes from the stunt guy to CG double.
CG right there.
Did you see how the rotation kind of went inconsistent?
Yeah, and there's a transition to Michael Cera. Definitely like, there's a stunt and there's Michael Cera, and then somebody's like, I gotta connect the two with CG. Like in the movie 1917.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Way more janky.
So, okay, what frame exactly did he go from the digi double back to me?
That's true. Michael Cera does look a lot like you.
There are so many visual effects in this movie too, but the cool thing about them is that there's not a lot of computer generated stuff most of the time. There's a lot of like distortion effects and like text on screen. Anime lines, look at those anime lines there. Scott! So that fire there, how do you think they're getting that? How are they making that fire?
Slim Jims.
Huh?
I think it's Slim Jims.
Slim Jims!
So there's something I really like here. It's not just CG elements, like, you know, energy looking elements on top of the video. Take a look at the guitar and see how the guitar smears.
Yes, I was noticing the same thing.
So that's really cool, because if you've ever tried doing visual effects, like you may have a cool laser effect or energy effect and you drop it on your footage and it doesn't feel like it's part of the footage. And things like having distortion where the footage itself is being distorted is a great way to like have things like feel like they're impacting that world. Because it'd be so easy for this like energy wave just to feel like it's literally a light layer put on top of the film. But in this case, it's smearing the guitar. It's giving the impression of like wind and things like that. One other thing that I really appreciate is that they are doing a lot of practical lighting on set to match these effects that are being added in post. Like they're timing and syncing lighting effects on set to later on match the effects that are put into the footage months down the line. And that takes planning, that takes vision. That's what I think signifies a good director who cares about their work versus like other people who are just phoning it in because they show up on the day and they just, put a camera there, film the actor's done. We've been talking about how like this, you know, it's like anime in real life, right? And we've done our fair share of live action anime videos. So like, what does it mean to have live action anime? Well, obviously there's things like having text on screen and anime lines, but when you look at anime, it's drawing from the fact that, well, no pun intended, they're drawings. You don't have a lot of frames in your budget. You have to basically sell motion and sell a story with the minimal amount of drawings possible. So you do things like lines to convey motion, and then you use just normal zooms and pans to convey motion. And that's where the whole like anime blurred background comes into play, because you want to show somebody flying at you, but you only have one frame that you can have of somebody in a pose, and then you just paint one picture of lines, and then you just zip it back and forth real quick. And so that lets you have motion and kinetic energy while still only having like 1 or 2 drawings. Maybe their mouth is moving or whatever, and you're swapping that out.
They emulate that here when they have Scott Pilgrim flying forward with a punch. Like their bodies are relatively still, but the position of their bodies are moving. This is a great movie.
Yeah, this is a super cool movie. I rewatched it pretty recently as well, and it's awesome.
And no one went to see it in theaters.
So in one of our last videos, Clint was like, I got a jacked up clip for you. And I was like, guys, that octopus clip is really jacked up. And if you have any other jacked up visual effects clips, let us know in the comments below. And you did. You followed through on it. And I went through those comments, and someone wanted us to check out this scene from Looper.
I loved this movie.
There's some really good stuff in Looper.
This character is noticing physical changes in his body that are happening in a past version of himself, and they're appearing on him in real time.
And his nose is gone.
There's something so like visceral about seeing a chopped off nose.
Yeah.
This is so jacked up.
Oh, his foot.
Oh my God. Just chopped his leg off.
His legs disappeared while he was walking.
Yeah, that was super cool.
And like he collapsed through where his legs should have been.
I wonder how they did the legs disappearing.
Yeah, his legs obviously disappear within his pants and he collapses. So it's something that possibly could have just been done practically, but it was so well done, I'm not sure how they did it.
I think I see it. I think he actually has a leg, and I think he falls down. And the moment he starts falling down, they paint it out and they replace it with a cloth simulation. They're basically just doing what we did in our short paper cuts. We do an effect where I hit them, and when I hit the person turns into a flat piece of paper and gets torn in half and flutters away. It's a real person that then gets erased from the shot and gets replaced with a cloth simulation. But in the case of paper cuts, it acts like paper rather than, the legs of pants.
Niko's 100% right. I looked this one up. First off, that car crash and him coming out are two shots stitched together where the stunt actor crashes the car for real, and then they stitch that with another shot of him coming out of the car to transition into this. And for this entire take here, it's a full body take, and they basically just transition the limbs into cloth simulations and paint out the existing limbs.
Okay.
From like a filming perspective, it's pretty simple. There are like tracking markers on his body that they're using for like the animation and stuff like that. They set up some witness cameras around there to try and get the animation as smooth as possible.
That's so well done.
Yeah,
That is so well done.
It's a really simple execution on set, and the effect is really visceral.
Thanks for that jacked up shot, Sam. That was pretty jacked up.
Jacked up movies, leave them in the comments. We're reading them, and I'm happy to go through more of these because sometimes the most jacked up shots require the most jacked up VFX.
So this is a movie called The Abbeys, and it came after Terminator and Aliens, and before Terminator 2. So there is a groundbreaking visual effects shot in this movie, and it is this like water snake thing. They called it a pseudopod.
This is a big precursor to the T-1000 right here.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that face. It's mirroring her face right there.
Ugh. The effects are good, it just looks weird.
Let's look at like the practical light of like the water reflections they're doing all
right,
over the place to constantly like motivate the creature.
Wait, what? Why?
She just tickled his brain and licked it. So I want to explain why this is such a big deal. The only other CG character that had ever been done before this was the stained glass man. This shot was so groundbreaking at the time, they were uncertain if they were going to be able to do it at all. So James Cameron literally wrote this entire scene to be removed from the movie if it came down to it. We're looking through this liquid material, this medium that you can actually see through. So there's a couple different things happening. One is it's basically refracting everything behind it and is causing the image to like invert and like distort, but you're also seeing reflections on the surface of the water. And all of that requires imagery to actually pass through it. And that's something that had never been done before. They weren't sure if they could do this, but there was one guy who was like, no, we got this. And his name was John Knoll. His name is John Knoll. He's still around. Like John Knoll is like one of my VFX heroes. And he's like, okay, we need to see through the water. So he took his camera and he took photos of the set. And he like every angle possible from every light, from every camera, like just kind of getting the whole set. And he actually stitched all those images together using this program that him and his brother invented called Photoshop. Yeah, that's right. John Knoll, along with his brother, invented Photoshop. And what John Knoll did with taking all those photos is it gave the rendering program something to actually project through the water medium itself. He basically created the standard of taking photos of the set so that anytime you're having visual effects, you can add that stuff back in exactly as it was on set. This would certainly be a lot easier to do now. However, you wouldn't be able to do it without the same principles they used on set to make this film way back in the day. You still have to have those methods and procedures involved. Also, this is the first example of doing morphing. The digital face there morphs between her face and Ed Harris's face.
I mean, just as a guess, if I was back then and trying to keep this as simple as possible, the way you're going to build these CG faces is probably by making sure there's a uniform amount of vertices between them. So that way, when you're animating and morphing between the two shapes, you can simply just take these two vertices and everything slides into a new location, but the underlying structure of the face stays identical. Just everything about it is just by the books in the best way. Just kind of blown away. In the back of my head, I'm going James Cameron is the best filmmaker of the 20th century.
He is, straight up.
Oof, man.
Also, John Knoll, if you're seeing this, please consider coming on our show. We'd love to have you.
That would be amazing.
That would be like a dream come true.
If you or anyone you know knows John Knoll, let us know.
Hey guys, this episode of VFX Artists React is brought to you by Raycon earbuds. My dad hit me up because he likes to do a lot of hiking and walking, and full-on ear covering headphones, they get kind of hot and sweaty. And so he's like, is there an earbud that you recommend? Well, Dad, I recommend these guys, the Everyday E25s. I talked to Jake, and Jake was like, Niko, if you do the next integration, we'll send a box to your dad. So, Dad, keep an eye on the mailbox in a week, because I'm doing it. There's a bunch of great features that my dad will enjoy, such as a sleek design, no stems, no wires hanging out. My dad loves bass. The bass response on these guys is great. My dad loves fun colors. These guys come in all sorts of colors. They can be personalized to match your personality. And on top of that, my dad likes to listen to lots of music for a long time, and the battery life on these guys lasts for 6 hours. On top of that, you can recharge them 4 times within their case. So if you're looking for a nice pair of earbuds that offers seamless Bluetooth connection and great bass response, go to the link in the description below, or you can go to buyraycon.com/corridorcrew, type it into your URL manually, because, I don't know, maybe you're a person who likes doing that. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of VFX Artists React. If there are any clips that you want us to react to from movies, please leave a comment down below. We'll take the good ones, we'll take the bad ones, we'll take the weird ones.
Dude, someone mentioned Animorphs. We're gonna have to talk about that next time.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do Animorphs next time. If there's any kooky kids shows that had some bad VFX in it, let us know. I wish I was there for the Beast Wars episode, because I watched that a lot, and I had a lot of Beast Wars action figures. And I always wanted to know how they did it.
Yeah, it was, being on this show, then you'll magically know.
Well, I come here so you guys make me a better visual effects artist.
Aw.